called, uh, you know, getting people to get their mind off of um, just the streets, just politics, just protests, and try to navigate Christ into. So, but that's we know that that's not a popular topic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up, but I'm not sure why.
Okay. Okay.
I'm hearing you, but it's spotty, and it's saying that the live video has been interrupted. Ray?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
saying it's interrupted. So I was gonna take us into Facebook Live. Let me see what it does. A little. Oh Lord, saying
I can hear you.
no, no. I know. I'm just waiting to see what it's doing. It's okay. So we're gonna go live. Are you ready? So the people can
Yeah.
just start following us. We
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
at 6:45, but I normally come on about 5 minutes early.
Yeah. That's cool.
So
Like give people time to set up, tune in.
yes. So we're gonna go on now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
What did it just to reload page? There you are.
Yeah. You couldn't see me?
Couldn't, but now I can. All right, we're Facebook Live. Yay, yay, yay.
Yeah.
With this gentleman. We thank you all. We're
Oh
giving you
man.
a few minutes to come on in and join us tonight for a very candid and heartfelt conversation with this gentleman that I've known and so proud of. That's Mr. Rayquan Simmons. He is a registered nurse in the city of Los Angeles, California. And so we are honored. And I say that genuinely because there are a lot of young men out here, but some of them they always get the news that they're robbing and stealing. That's not the case here. This young man has definitely you know jumped some hurdles. He's had to do whatever it takes to get where he is today. So we thank you, Mr. Raekwon, for coming in and joining us tonight. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. So as people are coming on, I'm gonna just, really, I'd like to open us up in prayer. I was talking about that earlier, that just this platform that we're on, God has to be in this because the weightiness of the conversations that we're having about mental illness. It has to be a God intervention. I'm telling you, on top of professionals helping, there has to be a God intervention. So we're going to acknowledge him
Mm.
tonight. Like I said, I'm waiting for those that'll be joining us. But there is something about calling on the name of Jesus. People may not want to believe it, but it's the truth. And so, as me being a professional, as a behavioral therapist, I also believe that I wouldn't even be where I'm at if it wasn't for the help of the Lord. And I give him glory for that. So tonight, let's just pray. And as people come on, I'm seeing, hi, Cousin Shirley. Thank you for joining us tonight. As people are joining in, we're just going to give God what he deserves, which is honor. In the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you tonight. We honor and we glorify your name. Your name is high and lifted up, and your train fills the temple. You are all seeing and all knowing. And so you are acquainted with every one of our ways. This conversation tonight is no exception. We know that all things work together for the good to them that love you and are called according to your purpose. Tonight, I ask that you would open the ears of those hearers, Lord God, the guests that are coming on. And not only that, Lord God, I ask that you would give Raekwon and I the words to say to encourage somebody tonight. We thank you. We honor you as we go forth in Jesus' name. Amen and amen.
Jesus'
Love
name.
you, Diana. Thank you for joining us tonight. A lot of my family is coming on tonight, Rayquan. So listen, you guys are such a blessing, Facebook followers. I have family coming in. I have cousins and friends from all around the country. And we just want to introduce this handsome young man who I've known for some time now, Rayquan Simmons. He is a registered nurse in Los Angeles, California. And we say, welcome, sir, to you. Let me tell you something about Rayquan. We interviewed him several months ago and there was some technical difficulties, but this young man has just the brilliance of an old man, and I just know that he's going to share some of those same things that he shared with us several months ago. So we're honored to have him back. But Raekwon, of course, is born bred Los Angeles, California. He grew up in the inner city, and Raekwon came and graduated in 2017 from nursing school, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
upon your
ma'am.
graduation, you immediately got a job. Is that what a nursing job?
Yeah, I mean, couple months after I did finally.
And so tell the viewing audience what made you want to become a nurse.
Yeah, absolutely. So go thing. So, growing up, dealing with the experiences that I dealt with and the community that I was living in, it just wasn't a thought. So as I got older, I did do my best in academia. As soon as I could, I sustained certain injuries in sports, and I had to navigate my focus to say what's next in life. So I just kind of sat back and assessed what I was better at than anything, and then science for me was something that I was always fond of. So, and then my care for people. Uh, has always been there. I've always had a heart to serve. I think with the introductory of Christ, that kind of intensified it more so. But I've always had a science and scientific background, and I've always had a heart to serve. And so then through just further evaluation of what I wanted to do, you eventually come across nursing, and it just worked out. So fortunately enough, I had the means to just go through to a JC and kind of get into the program and successfully from start to finish. I got all the way through, and so here I am now, years later, going into today.
So to some of the viewers that are listening, especially men,
Mm-hmm.
young African American men, brown skinned men, black men, would you encourage them to pursue this field?
Absolutely. What? Well, we would love it. People often cling to men in the medical field. It's not a common visual per se, but it is embraced. I don't know why men don't really tap into it. It is funny talking to my little brother once upon a time. He asked me, he says, "Hey, why did you become a nurse? Why didn't you become a doctor?" So there's just that like assumption that if you're a man, you have to be above and beyond. You can't be a nurse. You can't be an LVN. You can't be, you can't be anything in between. There's that expectation, right? You're a guy. You have to be above. You have to be the doctor or the CEO or something of that nature. So I don't know if people think it's taboo, but absolutely, man. Men should definitely get into it. We thrive. I think men are the better nurses out there. What's
Okay.
the problem with that? I'm just playing with you. I know some people are gonna be mad at that. No, but no, seriously, men should definitely get into it. It does take balance. I think men and women definitely work together in the medical field to attend to people's needs.
Right. So tonight there's some things that are heavy conversations that we've had over, this journey of this Wellness Monday, but this month is Suicide Prevention Month. It only was for 1 week, which I said last week when I was interviewing um, a retired chief of police, Ed Medina. It is only
Yep.
for a week, from the
Yep.
6th to the 12th. And that is absurd to me because the suicide
Mm-hmm.
rate, if no one knows it, every 40 seconds someone takes their lives. Did you hear me? Every 40
Mm.
seconds.
Mm.
That is the new statistics
Mm.
that's out. That's staggering. So One of the things that has really concerned me, and this morning I received several texts. One I forwarded to you, Raekwon, and I don't know if any of the film students or any of the producers are on right now, but um, our condolences to the young man or woman that took their life, a film student. And this thing is ongoing. I just saw on social media the TikTok star, 16-year-old from India, took her life this weekend. This thing continues to go on day by day. And Raekwon and I were talking earlier. It doesn't matter your age, your status, your ethnicity. It does not matter. So this is one of the things that is interesting. I pulled it today from another one of our friends, Brother Kevin Cunningham. And it says, what people think causes depression, because that's what starts the cycle towards that unfortunate journey of people taking their lives. And one of the things it says is trauma, abuse, neglect, bullying, chemical dependencies, grief and loss, overworking, excessive stress, being in a career and the expenses of your own well-being, genetic factors, a lack of fulfillment, which is really true, lifestyle factors, body image. A lot of people are dealing with body imaging. You'll notice that perfection, that's perfection. That, like, seriously, lack of social support and low self-esteem, which is a biggie for our community. As Black people, we have a lot of low self-esteem issues, and it stems all the way from generations and generations back, way past my mother, way past my grandmother. So give a conversation to that, Ray. Jump in and share. What does any of this ring true for you when it comes to depression?
Absolutely, absolutely. You touched a variety of different categories, and everything you just listed, and each individual listing that you just spoke on can affect individuals differently according to what they are going through. And absolutely, there's much truth into that, and all of it. If I can find just one common denominator in everything that you just listed, it's value and self worth. Value and self worth. And if you don't, no matter what, if an individual doesn't have a great idea of their value, of value in general, of self worth, nothing that they do will be in a progressive sort of nature. Nothing that they do will be successful. They're honestly going to downtrend. They're not going to see worth. And then now we're talking, mental illness, and now we're talking possible suicide because of that.
Right.
Uh, because of that struggle to see worth. So no matter what, that's a common denominator, and everything you listed can trigger under that umbrella. So absolutely. I mean, if you have, self-esteem issues or self-identity issues, or you don't like the way you look or where you are in life, and then you tap into that I don't see worth, and then there's failure to thrive, and then there's a possibility of suicide, or long-term depression or pain that's prolonged, and all of that can point to the direction of I don't see worth in life.
And when, as you've been a nurse in this profession, and I know you're seeing a lot that's coming through. I know you just switched to a new hospital, but tell
Mm.
the viewing audience, what do you really see when you're going to work on a regular basis? What kind of situations are coming, especially since COVID-19 and now the fires and all these other things that are taking place?
So I mean, I've switched job within the pandemic. Upon maybe the first 2 or 3 months of the pandemic, I definitely seen a spike in our younger population being admitted. And I worked at a cardiac floor. It's not often that we see 20, 30-year olds that are being admitted, unless they had like a secondary issue that might have been cardiac related, then they'll come to our floor. But during the early phase of the pandemic, I definitely seen, like I said, a lot of youth coming in for drug overdose, for just substance abuse in general that can cause a variety of issues. And then, translate into now, we're on the back end of COVID, hopefully, knock on wood, praying. We're on the back end of it, and we're still seeing like the lingering effects of it. However, one common denominator, for whether it was from the beginning or to the end, and one of the most probably misdiagnosed problems that, as a nurse, that I see, is definitely the mental illness. That's not something that's obvious. Is more so invisible than anything. People
Right.
come in and they're dealing with a lot of mental trauma. They're dealing with a lot of internal complications that can intensify whatever's already existing. So that's something that just goes undiagnosed, and people are, whether they're young or whether they're old, they're dealing with it. And as a nurse, we kind of see that, but that's not something that the doctors attend to primarily. They're going to do, their physicals. They're going to do their assessments, and most of that time, it's relating to the heart, lungs, whatever system there is. You name it, they're going to check that off first, and then lastly, they'll get to, if they even get to it, it will be the mental um, illness thereof.
And the mental illness is that we, as a professionals, like you said, are misdiagnosed because a lot of people are not, as we talked about last week, there's not enough training. You go to school, we have psychologists, we have psychiatrists, but in the other parts of, professions like, first responders, police officers, firemen,
Mm,
yourself as a nurse, doctors are not equipped. This pandemic has affected so many people. We talked a couple months ago of the chief of one of the prominent hospitals in New York. She took her life. They said she didn't even have mental illness, but she had contracted the coronavirus. And I think that what I'm seeing more and more is there's this fine line with all of us that our life is a vapor, but it can slide over into that dark world where we lose all hope. And tonight want to just, encourage somebody, Ray.
mm.
That's why you're on here. As a black man, we know that our black men, it's almost like you guys are being hunted, you know. But there is something very valuable about our black men, and it's not talked about enough. It's always talked about in a negative connotation, not the things that are positive. And so, as a black man, you grew up in a single family home, right? Was your dad
Yep,
present?
yep.
And so, one of the conversations you had was is that you were very much in that environment of gang activity. And so you didn't, and I know that you felt was maybe probably at some point could have been your world, but God. So
Mm.
talk to the viewing
Okay.
audience about,
Yeah.
yes, what in that, like a single family home, mom trying to do the best she could, whatever was dynamics in your home. Did you face depression? Did you face hopelessness at any point in your life?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say that I may have dealt with it longer than some. I mean, I don't know even the textbook of what classifies as technical depression, whether it's 3 or 6 months of the constant weighing down on you. But I definitely felt some. I mean, some trauma. Right. I definitely felt downs certain periods of my life where I just was down for a period of time. But going back to what you're saying, just coming from a single parent, single house, it's definitely difficult. Here you have the responsibility of a parent to act the role as two parents. And with that, there's a lot of attention that needs to be given. But that sole provider has to provide just that, provide and try to be there as much as they can emotionally to protect their child from certain thoughts. None of us are going to be free, no matter what age you are. As you grow and as you deal with life and experience life, you're going to come across certain roads that you're going to be pushed, that pressure is going to be applied on you. And how you deal with that, that's usually when we activate certain tools in our life, whether it's my mom, whether it's my uncle, whether it's my dad. We go to our tools to help us get through that fight, per se. So when you come from a single parent household, you more than likely don't have a bunch of tools. You just have that parent. And if that parent is engaged, I came from a single parent and my mom wasn't really a great emotional supporter. She dealt with trauma of her own. So
Mm.
she couldn't really pour into us what we needed growing up. So it felt much like we were orphans when you come from that single household. you have an emotional parent or a parent who was emotionally not available to you. Great provider, got what I needed. I ate, I grew up, I played sports, I did all of that. I was able to go to school, great. But emotionally, I was voided. And I still deal with that to a large degree because life is rough and life is going to push you around. You need to be able to fall back on the tools, like I said, that you needed. Not only that, but the community that I was in, it just applied a little more pressure. Let's be honest, when you grow up in what we call the hood or any type of, rough, I guess, neighborhood, I'm gonna just keep it general, you are exposed to a little more struggle a little sooner than most people would be exposed to. Sorry, motorcycle outside. So you're going to be exposed to certain things sooner and probably more. So granted, like you mentioned, there was gang activity, there was peer pressure and things of that nature. Turn on the light here. There was pressure and things of that nature, like you said. But God, I really don't have a explanation as to why I came out of that clean, but it does make it harder. So whenever I was in high school, and we talk about, you mentioned chemical imbalances. Let's be honest, when you're growing up, all of that is changing. Your brain is changing, your body is changing, and so you're not in an adult mindset to where you can deal with the things that are coming across you. So you're vulnerable. Your emotions are a roller coaster. You are developing. So, growing up, something that might not be a big thing to somebody else, it was to me. And it's all about how we perceive things.
Right.
And that's a whole conversation we can get into within itself as well. When we talk about mental health, it's not about what quote unquote is a big deal or not. It's about how you perceive something in your living, because in their world, in their bubble, it's dark, it's voided, it's not attended, it's lonely, it's iso. So when that's left cold, it just freezes over after a while, and they're numb and they're detached, prolonged, and that's a problem. So in my world, I would have wanted more emotional support from parents. So when you coming from a single house, that makes it harder. That makes you vulnerable to a lot of issues in the future. So like I said, I mean, I made it through it, and a lot of people can probably relate to that as well. Not having mom, not having dad. Not having dad was a huge thing as well. Not having that balance, not having that role model, not having the certain values instilled in me and certain things I can take from, and say my dad taught me this in certain traditions. And there's a lot of pain from that, having the absence of that. So void has been a huge issue for me, in the sense of being wanted was an issue for me. But then again, as a black male, you can't really talk about that. It's man up, it's tough up, is you good. Go on, you know what I mean? It's not really, there's not opportunity to really vent about it, to really cry, to really say I'm not okay with that. And I love the fact that on this platform, that's a common thing I keep hearing from the people that you interview, is people are telling you it's okay to be open and to be vulnerable, and that's okay. And I want to emphasize on that too. Absolutely, find you your small circle, lean on your small circle, cry, no judgment, pure transparency, and that's therapeutic in itself. Even if they don't say anything at all, just to be that and just to say you can do it. So, I did deal with a lot, and I'm still here. I mean, I think I can also benefit just from having a weekly check-in, counselor, family. I mean, we all need that therapy to a degree. So translate, into college and into now. It's on one thing I guess I can tell you. You touched on hope. I
Yeah.
think that's huge. I think that's really huge. It's such a simple concept, but it's such a life changer when we talk about hope. When somebody doesn't have hope, they really don't see. Obviously, they don't see anything worthwhile. But when we talk about hope, we talk about passion, we talk about goals. Now we talk about things that we can. There are certain things in our control. So for me, going to school and pushing past my voids, I was searching for a purpose. Granted, I wasn't at a point where I wanted to just throw in the towel, but I was searching for a purpose. And if there's anybody that's young or in college and they're kind of going through that phase of what's next, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something. I'm frustrated, I'm standing still, I'm idle, but I don't know what's next. And keep searching. I think it will come to you, but that is a great sign. You're searching for purpose, and my purpose, trying to help people, trying to serve people, and applying my science background, that gave me purpose and that gave me focus. I didn't really have too much time to entertain the voids that I did have, and that I still deal with as well. Not to just push it off, but I was able to keep moving. I was able to have some type of movement, um, and that to me was a huge thing to talk about. So hope, you talk about what's your purpose. You talk about whether it's you pursuing a career, you pursuing school, whatever you're pursuing. You have some momentum, and you have something to look forward to be excited about. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. You say, I'm doing this and I'm enduring this, but it's for a great cause.
Yes.
I'm going in the right route. So that journey in itself is very helpful. But when you are a young man or a young woman and you're just sitting still and you have no momentum, now you're setting yourself up for failure, because eventually you're going to look around and say, hey, everyone's kind of moving in this direction. And here I am. Oh, hey, now my stomach looks pretty big. Oh, I hate the way I look. I'm getting older.
Mm.
I don't have anything going. Now you got all these things, and then a pandemic hit, right? Now you have limited access and what you can do. Now I can't make no money. I'm dependent on this person and that person, and you got fires, you got different natural disasters happening, you got fear that's just added on, and now you got an abundance of pressure. Pressure is all over you, and pressure is going to make you do something. Pressure is going to make everything move. There's no way that something can be in one place and pressure is constantly applied and nothing happens. Something's going to happen.
Yes.
So the only way to deal with pressure is you can grow as a person. There has to be an increase of space, or the pressure has to be let out somewhere. And that let out can be venting to somebody like you, somebody like mom, somebody like dad, crying on a person. That pressure has to be relieved. Has to be. So just a couple things to touch on, absolutely. But you mentioned hope, and that's huge right there. What can you do to tap into hope? What do you have going for yourself that you say, you know what, everything is not perfect, but I'm doing something in faith so that I can achieve this. I have hope that I can do this. Or I'm moving towards this. There has to be some sort of movement. So ask yourself, whoever's watching, what am I doing right now? Do I have momentum?
Mm.
Do I have hope in something? Am I anticipating something? Something is simple. There's times when I hate work. There's times I absolutely hate work. Work can be stressful. We can have unfair assignments, and it can just be built, and pressure can build up there. But there's sometimes I just be like, I got a nice steak at the house. Payday is Friday. It'd be little things that I can just get to the end of the week and be like, I got football on Monday. It's just little things to get me through. And I'd be like, it's worth it. You know what I mean? What do you have to you be like? It's just a little recess, just whatever. And that's just an example of just little things. On the grand scheme, obviously, you want to have business goals, you want to have educational goals, or whatever. You want to learn a task, you want to learn a craft, a trade, whatever. Always have momentum in something as a bigger picture, but you have to have short term and long term goals. And all of that includes in momentum, all of that includes in hope, because when you have that, then you have passion. When you have passion, you care about something, and you tend to veer from the suicide realm, the dark realm. You're busy, you're not idle. So those are just a few things for young people that might be applicable. And that kind of helped me through my journey.
Um, as we're getting ready to close out, but one of the things that you just said is that not being idle, and there's a saying,
Mm,
the idle mind is the devil's workshop. We know that, we've heard that a
absolutely.
million times in our lifetime. And this the truth, because when you're idle, like you said, all these things, the weight of the world, the darkness continues to engulf
Mm,
you. And I think for you as a young man, I want you to continue to share with others, in your journey. But one of the things I want you to share what you're doing right now that continues to help you not be stagnant, even though you have a job, is that you are into a fitness. You have your Instagram that you are showing different things that you're doing to keep moving. You had a challenge, a 30-day challenge for your
oh yeah,
30th.
I'll use it.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
tell the viewing audience a few minutes about that before we close out. What does that look like for you?
absolutely. Absolutely. Fitness is such a key. You do it because you want to look good, but realistically, there's mental benefits of fitness in general. When you have fitness and health going on, and you're doing that thing daily, more people will tell you than that. I can't explain it, but I feel better. Now we talk about chemical balances in our brain. when and that's a big discussion as well. Genetically, there's some people who have poor dopamine release, and then they struggle with depression because of certain neural transmitters that are not being released. The
Correct.
pleasure senses, I'm saying, of your head. There's some people that genetically are set back because of that. And no matter what, some people have chemical imbalances because they are exposed or they indulged in drug use. That causes problems of chemical imbalances. That causes
Correct.
they're exposed to depression. There's many reasons as to why, but fitness is something. No matter what you've done, no matter what you deal with, you can increase that fitness and just working out and looking better. It does tap in to a reward circuit. When people do drugs, they enter euphoria in their brain because whatever they're using, there's a surplus of pleasure because of it, and they want to tap into that more than not. For fitness people, they're replacing the poor coping of whatever they're doing. Some people eat. There's certain everyone wants to tap into what the reward circuit will release, whatever makes me feel good. Some people, like I said, they go to drinks, they go to alcohol. Some people go to drugs. Some people go to food, and just to tap into like the spiritual realm of it, I think fitness is a great way to cope. But all of these things we should try to navigate towards Christ. Christ says, I want that. I want you in those vulnerable phases. And when you feel that need, when you have that void and you want to feel great, learn how to tap in to Christ himself
Yes.
instead of going to the needle, instead of going to the plate, instead of, you know what I mean? And that's just a way to get rid of the poor coping. Go to Christ, go to working out. These are positive ways that you can cope, right? Meditation, you know what I mean? Just
Yes.
positivity, giving back, things of that nature you can do to cope in a positive manner. So working out is just one avenue. I try to present myself as a health coach. I'm not a fitness trainer. I mean, I do little bits to show people and just to make it fun. But realistically, just to try to keep people moving, right? We talked about movement, just to keep people moving so that they can feel better, so that they can not be idle, so that they can not resort to the poor coping of that I previously mentioned.
Right.
So fitness to me is fun in that sense. And let's be real, it keeps you around longer if you're a parent, keeps you youthful you can be youthful to your children, no matter how old they are. Just visceral health, general health is very important. So fitness is something that I definitely will encourage and I resort to just to try to get people off the couch and get people moving. For sure. I mean, and not, who doesn't want to look good at the end of the day as well? Everybody want to
I
look good and
know.
make
And that's
clothes.
for us
Everybody want
seniors.
to be at that beach. Yeah.
And that's for us seniors
Yeah.
as well. But, I want to speak just briefly to some of these
Mm,
film students that I said that probably may be listening tonight. I think you hit it on the head. Is there anything else you can share for the individual that took their life that was a film student back east? Is there anything you could give to their friends that have been left behind? My condolences goes out to the family of this young man or young woman. They didn't say actually who, but they said it's all over social media. Is there anything else,
mm,
Ray, as you being a young man? Because I know it was a young person. Um,
mm.
Anything else you want to
That
share?
is that is tough. So whoever is near that individual who resorted to take their life, my condolences for sure. That's something that's really hard to deal with when you're talking to somebody one day and they're gone the next day. That's something that's unnatural, and it's one of those life experiences that lets you know life is real. Sometimes we get kind of high off of just waking up every day, but when something is taken away, it kind of shakes you up a little bit. So my condolences to the friends and family of that. But to those who are alive and remain, I do want to say live with purpose, live resilient. I think something as simple as an injury for me, it taught me how to be resilient. I had all my eggs in one basket. I could have told you I was going pro. I had my dream there. All of my hopes, all of my wishes was there. But when I got hurt, my dreams kind of went out the window. I realized that who I thought I was going to become is no more. And I could have threw in the towel early in life. I could have developed a bad habit then, but how do you bounce back? And so for me, it was something unnatural to just pick up a book and be like, this is it. So what can you do? You can be resilient. You know what I mean? There was a story that I just heard on social media about there was a girl who was a track runner and she was doing a relay and on her leg she sustained an injury. And within that injury, she was more so disappointed that she didn't finish the race, but she actually got up. She said, I can stay here and yeah, just accept that I lost the race, or I can hobble my way past the finish line and finish the race. And little things like that to develop resilience within
Yes.
you. And I think that's a great habit that you should start, or you can teach your nephews or family members at an early age. And when you have that mentality, no matter what comes your way, you're a little better equipped to deal with whatever pressure comes your way. You can say, you know what, things are not great. Yeah, I'm gonna cry it out for today or tomorrow, but I'm gonna kick back and just do time. It's a certain habit or nature that you have to start early. It's tough when you don't have those life tools and then you get hit with something big in your 20s and you don't know how to deal with it. So, you know what I mean? Talk to somebody, get under somebody, get these life tools. But if I can just preach resilience, going back to purpose, what am I doing? What do I love? What am I doing towards that passion? When there's passion or purpose, things of that nature that you can do early on. Start it early and tap in with people you love. I had a little cousin who took her life at 21, and as family, you always kind of go back and say, wow, I wasn't there. I didn't call. I was so distracted in my life. I was too busy doing my thing. How many phone calls could I have made to that individual? Just maybe my phone call would have made the world of a difference. So,
There you
just to
go.
be mindful and just to connect with people, connect with family as much as often. And love is the cure of almost anything in this world. So if you can tap in and just a simple conversation, I rather have somebody just call me and talk about nothing than you give me hundreds and thousands of dollars because you think I need that. Just tap in and show me that you care about me. Hey Ray, how you doing, bro? I just want to call and check on you. You want to talk about anything? Just to have that. And in the medical field, I try to translate that as well. Often we'll do an admission and we'll get a patient and we have protocols to check it to see if they're suicidal or not. But how many, let's be real, like how many nurses really say, you know what, how are you really doing? Let's talk, let's wait a minute. I'm gonna give you a pause. I mean, we're trying to rush through our task. We're not really
Yes.
opening up ourselves, opening up our hearts. So when you talk to people with a purpose, talk to people with just the most genuine self as you can be, as patient as you can be. And so each one of those little things is what I can try to advise um, to that community who lost their friend or their family, whoever that person was to them. But but those are just key things that you can do to better your mental health, to better the tools that you have to deal with life as well.
Outstanding. I want to just remind everyone that this is an ongoing conversation that needs to be had every day. We don't want to wait till September for Suicide Prevention Month. This thing is so weighted. It is a pandemic. And I want to make that clear. We're here to support. We don't have all the answers, but I do know one who does, and that's Jesus. I'm going to keep saying it now because we have a hope in him. But not only that, there's professionals
Mm,
out there, there's medications out there that can be taken.
mm.
Listen, this is an ongoing conversation. Next week, I'm going to have a special guest as well, Chris Staples, who is a swing coach, happens to be my youngest son, for real. And we're going to have another conversation. Get your tissues ready because it's going to be quite emotional, but it's going to be worth it. Why? Because what I'm saying right now holds true to a conversation we'll have with him next week. Ray, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy to see you. We know that a lot of people right now are hurting. And please know that we're
Hey,
here for you. You can call us at 323-571-9299. You can email me at oldgraceministries@gmail.com. You can come onto our prayer line. We have a vast number of things that are opening up. Please go onto our YouTube channel. That's YouTube channel, Old Grace Ministries. Click subscribe and like. Ray, you're the man. We're going to get some more black men, Hispanic men as nurses. We're going to work on that.
appreciate
Hey,
you.
there's something out here for everybody. Let's touch bases with people with purpose. Let's put a pulse on somebody, become a
Right.
mentor to somebody. That are some of the things that we can do to make a change. Suicide, the rates are too high. Every 40 seconds. I didn't say 40 minutes. I didn't say every 4 days. I said
Mm.
every 40 seconds, someone is taking their life. We got to change those numbers. Hey, have a great week. I love you, Ray. Thank you, sir, for being on here tonight. This is Wellness Monday. I'll see you next Monday with Mr. Chris Staples. Have a great night, you guys. Check on somebody right now. Have a good night. Thank you, Facebook family.